access to the world's best historians. And it's not just documentaries either. We have a network of incredible history podcasts bringing you new episodes every day. Sign up now for a 14-day free trial, and Timeline fans get 50% off their first 3 months. Just be sure to use the code TIMELINE at checkout.
He may have been thinking of the deliberate policy of misinformation designed to confuse spies and traitors, which spread fear through the population, spawning a whole catalogue of invasion alarms in which parachutists, variously dressed as nuns, priests and policemen, featured, not to mention those in sky blue uniforms with transparent parachutes who floated invisibly to Earth. As early as May the 12th, the tabloid Sunday Pictorial was asking if the government had considered training golfers in rifle shooting to eliminate stray parachutists.
These scenes, multiplied 100 times, show how our men are being prepared for the defence of Britain.
A German-Swiss resident of the London borough of Kensington was arrested for puffing on his cigar and pointing the lighted end at the night sky. He was clearly signalling to enemy aircraft. Many stray dogs, less fortunate, were shot on suspicion of carrying messages. On the 23rd of May, Sir Oswald Mosley, who had led the British fascists during the 1930s with some huffing and puffing but little electoral success, was interned. On the 31st, General Ironside, Commander-in-Chief Home Forces, reported suspicious men moving at night all over the country. And on July the 2nd, he reported there is signalling going on all over the place. But he lamented that no evidence had been found of fifth column activities or weapons of mass destruction. In fact, though many stories from death rays to parachuting nuns circulate to this day, the evidence to support them is as threadbare as evidence for the Tooth Fairy. Under pressure to form some sort of home defence, the Secretary for War, Anthony Eden, went on the radio on May the 14th to announce the formation of the Local Defence Volunteers, or LDV, said by some to stand for Look, Duck and Vanish.
This questionnaire is addressed to civilians who are not in armament factories or in government service. Have you joined the Local Defence Volunteers?
The LDV formed groups associated with social and sporting clubs and factories. By July, 1.25 million men had joined, but they were not well supplied with weapons.
When they started to form the Home Guard, which was the LDV, I joined them. I was 15 when I joined them. We got a bit of this and a bit of that, and then finally you got your rifle. The ones we were given was a Ross rifle. It was a Canadian rifle that only held 5 rounds.
Churchill insisted that the LDV be renamed the Home Guard. Eden was annoyed. He had had 1 million LDV armbands printed.
Well, I was at school at Dulwich College and not working very hard because I was spending most of the evenings in the Home Guard as a dispatch rider. And learning how to smoke and drink and all the rest of the things.
Jack White was keen to play his part in the Home Guard, but his application was rejected because, born the son of Russian Jews, he was classed as an alien. In the First World War, Jack White had been awarded the highest decoration for valour, the Victoria Cross. He was not classed as an enemy alien or interned. 2,000 aliens living near the coast were rounded up and others followed. Churchill said that it was necessary to collar the lot. In contradiction of its popular post-war image, the Home Guard was a serious reserve. It fired shots in anger, with several kills to its credit in anti-aircraft duties. Its patrols freed regular army units for other work, and it housed, or rather disguised, lethal groups of trained commando-style personnel tasked with murder and mayhem in the event of an invasion. Guard units also provided the enemy in training situations. More than one new recruit reported on being captured by First World War veterans more adept at soldiering than they were.
We did all sorts of clandestine things for about a month, and fighting against the Home Guard. And people thought the Home Guard was a joke, but they weren't. I was captured by them twice, and I thought I was a clever soldier. They were on the ball.
The plan for Britain's defence, agreed to on June the 12th, drew a line south from Edinburgh to the Medway, another west from below London to south of Bristol, an area further defined by a number of stop lines. Within these defined areas, anti-tank ditches were dug and concrete pillboxes built, and everyone waited. Winston Churchill waited with unquenchable optimism. His mother was American, his belief in the onward march of the English-speaking peoples was well documented, and his optimism was sustained not by confidence in British arms, but by the conviction that America, inextinguishable and inexhaustible, would come in. The greatest boost to Churchill's belief in salvation across the Atlantic came in August, in one of the key moments of the war. The American Congress would not allow neutrality to be breached by the supply of war material to either side without payment. Opinion polls registered American support for involvement in the war at a mere 8%. Roosevelt found a way. It was called Lend-Lease. Payment in kind. Britain made over naval bases in her West Indian possessions to the United States, or payment later, and Britain was obliged to pay. It took 50 years. Churchill called Lend-Lease a long step towards America coming in on our side. 2 days after the signing of the Lend-Lease agreement, the 15th of August, was Adlertag, Eagle Day, which the head of the Luftwaffe, Reichsmarschall Göring, nominated as the start of the critical phase of the Battle of Britain, the German air offensive that sought to achieve control of the skies over southern England, preparatory to an invasion. In one respect, the advantage had already moved from Germany to Great Britain. In early 1940, Britain had been producing 256 fighter planes a month. Winston Churchill, recognizing the urgency of improving production, appointed the Anglo-Canadian newspaper proprietor Lord Beaverbrook Minister for Aircraft Production.
And so I beg all of you, everywhere, to speed the tank, speed the defenses of Britain.
Under Beaverbrook's management, production for the month of July climbed to 496. An article in Time magazine in 1940 drew attention to his record and presciently noted that this war is a war of machines. It will be won on the assembly line. Importantly, the British assembly line was not just turning out lots of aircraft, but good ones. These were the Hurricanes and Spitfires that would write their names into the history books.